Are you feeling overwhelmed by the never-ending content of UGC NET English? Like, there are so many writers, periods, literary theories, dates, and the exam is just ticking closer. But what if I told you that the actual stress that you are facing right now is maybe not because of the content that you are preparing, but the way you are making your notes? Today, I'll show you exactly how to make effective notes that will actually help you revise faster and retain better, especially as the exam gets closer. So here's the truth. UGC NET English does have a vast syllabus. You're expected to remember hundreds of different writers, their works, literary theories, dates, years, and whatnot. In those circumstances, if you do not have a proper organized system of notes, you will definitely be lost during revision, especially during the last 15 to 20 days. I'm here to tell you how you can convert your notes into personalized memory banks. So when you need them the most, you can quickly revise and retain faster. Now, what are good notes exactly? What should good notes really contain? There are 3 things that ideally your notes should contain. What are those? The first one is keywords and not paragraphs. Whenever you are reading from your reference materials or resource books for preparing for your NET exam, make sure that you do not just copy paste the content from the reference material to your notes, or just write the same exact thing down in your notes. Right? You try to jot down the keywords. For example, if you are trying to understand the key characteristics of the modern age in literature, don't just try and write everything whatever the reference material has provided you. Write your own keywords. For example, for me, postmodern age is defined with experimentation, fragmentation, world wars, right? All of those things. This is going to help you extremely for your literary theories, right? It is going to help you understand literary theories in more depth. The second thing that your notes should contain are the detailed lists of the key dates, authors, and periods. Now, as you might be knowing that NET exam often asks you factual questions and not conceptual questions. What do I mean by that? Basically, questions related to the year in which the authors were born, the year in which they published these famous works, or something along the lines of it, and not some very conceptual based questions that generally happen in literature classrooms. Right? So in order to tackle with this, what you can do is that towards the end, once you are done with your preparation, you can create a very detailed and comprehensive list for yourself regarding the key dates, authors, and periods. And make sure this list is very organized. Okay, so for British literature, you can first make a list of all the major literary periods. Within those literary periods, talk about poetry, fiction, non-fiction, right? Within poetry, write down the major poets, and then within that, write down their works in a chronological order. Because, as you already know, chronology-based questions are frequently appearing in NET exam. Right? So try to make those lists and keep this list handy with you towards the end. Right? And finally, the third thing that should be there in your notes are the famous quotes. If you look at the previous year question papers, you will realize that there are certain quotes asked related to the romantic poets, especially. Secondly, you will find quotes as in the first lines of the major works, right? So make sure you know the first lines or the opening lines of some of the major works like Anna Karenina, or for that matter, The Wasteland, Canterbury Tales. And definitely you should know about some of the major quotes, some of the most critically acclaimed quotes of Shakespeare and his plays. Keep all of these notes handy with you because they are going to help you extremely while you are revising. Now, having said that, also please try and understand, guys, that you can't have same types of notes for different types of content. What I mean to say is that there are a variety of questions asked in UGC NET English. You have timeline-based questions, you have chronology-based questions, you also have questions related to literary terms and concepts, right? So how do you navigate all of those things? For the timeline-based questions or for the chronology-based questions, as I've mentioned previously as well, you can create those timeline notes wherein you can create a list for yourself and make sure it is very organized, it's very clear, and it helps you remember things faster. But when it comes to tackling questions, especially related to literary theories and literary terms, a lot of UGC NET aspirants get scared by it because let's face it, literary theories are extremely complex. They are also very detailed. They are pretty confusing, and sometimes it just feels that all of the theorists are just talking about the same thing, right? So what do we do in that case? Let's first understand it from the perspective of UGC NET English. So if you look at the previous year question papers, you will realize that a lot of questions related to literary theories are asked related to the terms, the major terms and concepts provided by the theorists primarily associated with this particular theory, right? So first, try and understand the basic features of each and every theory, right? Once you get a hold of that, then you go into the detailed understanding of the concepts, the terms, all of those things. And just don't try and make sense of it. Try and create mind maps for yourself. Over here, you can again, put keywords down, right? For example, when I'm talking about the concept of deconstruction provided by Derrida, how would I describe deconstruction to be? I would associate deconstruction with the word plurality because in essence, Derrida, when he talked about deconstruction, he talked about how there is no one single meaning to a text, right? There is a multiplicity of meanings based on the readers, based on the subjectivity of the readers. So try and break down some of these complex concepts into simplified bits and pieces, and it's only going to help you remember as well as retain it better. And one more important tip, guys, especially for your UGC NET English exam as far as your note-making strategies are concerned. Understand that even the best notes are useless if you can't find out what you need quickly. Understand that. So how do you do that? First of all, keep a separate book for paper 1 and a separate book for paper 2, right? Secondly, try to divide and prepare in such a manner that you are able to differentiate from the works that are categorized under fiction, the works that are categorized under poetry, the works that are categorized under drama, and the works that are categorized under non-fiction. And most importantly, create your own color coding scheme, right? For instance, when you come across some important authors or important works, you can just color code them red. So you know when you're revising that these are some of the works and authors that I have to remember no matter what. Right? Similarly, you can use green highlighters or green pens and blue pens. For example, you can use blue pens for certain literary terms and concepts. So you know that these are the literary terms and concepts which are frequently asked, and you know you have to remember them. So these are some of the ways that you can keep your notes more organized, more comprehensive, clean and neat, so that whenever you sit down to revise, you know that you are able to revise better, you are able to retain faster. So in the final 15 to 20 days before the exam, your notes are your best friend, guys. So here's what you should do. First, revise only using your notes and not any reference material or resource book. Keep aside those external reference materials, right? In those last 2 weeks, you only need to focus on your notes. Second, set a timer. Revise one topic in 20 to 30 minutes using your notes, your flashcards, your mind maps, or even gamify with another UGC NET aspirant, right? Third, focus on active recall, right? Once you're done revising one particular topic, close your notes and try to recall whatever you studied up until now or whatever you were able to retain until then, right? You can try to explain things to yourself out loud, right? You can try to write down whatever you are able to retain. So this will help you in learning things quickly, right? And finally, every 3 days, review the most important timelines, lists, notes, mind maps, whatever. But understand one thing, guys. A major part of UGC NET English preparation as well as revision is solving PYQs. Until and unless you don't solve PYQs, until and unless you don't solve the previous year question papers, you're not going to understand what's important and what's not. And when you don't know that, you are not going to able to devote that time to revision, or you're not going to spend that time revising your UGC NET syllabus productively. So make sure you solve PYQs daily, because that's going to help you understand what is more frequently asked and resultantly what's more important. So don't wait for the perfect time to make notes. Start making your notes right now. Make sure that they are coherent, they are organized, they are clear, right? Make them your own way, right? As long as you're able to make sense out of it, you're able to understand it, that's completely fine. Right, with this, we end our video on the note-making strategies. If you found this video informative and helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more such tips and strategies on UGC NET English and insights on literature. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next one.